Hello, podcast world. Welcome to Balance Life Mastery, the show where we talk about all things high performance and life balance without the burnout. Stories, insights, and actionable tips on creating the life you deserve, giving you and your teams the unfair competitive advantage in work and personal life. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Balance Life Mastery. And today we are going to talk about a topic that I think applies to both of our lives, but I think with COVID and the Great Resignation that's happening, a lot of other people are thinking about as well. And today's topic is pivoting in our careers, and whether that might be a complete shift in skill set or leaving the corporate world or whatever that may mean for you. It is a very important topic and quite a hot topic at the moment, because I think probably about 90% of our clients, if not more than that, have come to us with those sort of questions. And a lot of the time, I think at the beginning, it is very hard to admit or to secure that as the reason for seeking guidance or support. Don't you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, it was interesting because I was at a networking event a couple of days ago, and there were so many people that were they were really interested in what I was doing, and a couple of others, because there was another very successful lady that I knew, and she just left her job. She was starting to do coaching, and she wanted some non-exec like an advisory service and bits like that. And the people were really interested because they're like, I don't feel fulfilled anymore. This doesn't feel right. And it was like, either I don't know what I want to do, or it was, I'm really worried about doing it because, you're kind of 30 years or 20 years into a career or whatever it is. Like, I'm good at my job. I don't think I'd be very good at consulting, or I don't think I'd be very good at this. And am I just being selfish? And and I think that's a big one. And so it's such a good topic to come up, and like you said, everyone's kind of talking about it, or thinking it and feeling like they can't talk about it.
Exactly. And the feeling of not being able to talk about usually comes with that the feeling that we have a lack of kind of sufficient experience in this new area. And that brings up the fear and the imposter syndrome and all of these wonderful things. But I think I'd like to go through kind of a few tips in terms of, if you truly feel ready in your heart, in your gut, in your intuition, whichever resonates for you, if you feel like something needs to change, please remember, life is precious, right? It's too precious to spend time in a job that you hate, if you feel undervalued, underpaid, if you're uninspired, unfulfilled, right? It's no longer, the world is no longer about the impressive title, the corner office, the big glass corner office, the big bonus, right? It's more about having the flexibility to pursue your passions and be present with your families, your friends, your priorities, your life goals, and all of these things. So if you do feel that niggle, that feeling, explore it. I'm not saying jump ship like I did and resign and have nothing and start from scratch. Literally, there are easier ways of doing it, but explore it. And I think the first tip here in terms of taking that leap is get comfortable with the risk. Right? Get comfortable with it. Know that something new is out there and there is always risk, but also it's knowing that feeling uncomfortable, like leaping into something that's completely new, is doable, but it will be uncomfortable, and just be okay with that. Sit with that and allow yourself to explore it instead of just shutting it off and brushing it under a rug.
Yeah, and I think an important bit to that is about, like, everything has risks, and you can also do risk mitigation. So whether that's if you're seriously considering about starting your own consulting practice or whatever it is, it's like that. How could you do a risk-free trial? So how could you do a bit of consulting on the side, or maybe how can you put some savings to one side, making sure you've got money in the bank and bits like that? So like you're saying, like acknowledge the risks and then have a think about how could I limit them if it's something I really want to do, because usually the risk is not as big as what you're making out in your own head.
Exactly. And you know what, a lot of the time when, I mean, I worked with teams where the individuals, I mean, probably about more than 60% of the team were very anti-change, anti all of that stuff. But I think these are all labels that people put on themselves so that they don't have to face certain uncomfortableness, if that makes sense. And I think there are a few things that, if you look at it as a self-discovery exercise, your appetite for risk, and there are three kind of key questions that pop to mind when to self-explore, to reflect on our level of risk. And number one is kind of, what is your level of comfort with taking risks, right? And again, just don't have that immediate answer of, I don't like taking risks, right? Because that's not true. If you think about other areas in your life where you have taken risks, I'm sure you have. So that's the first question. Second one is, how would you react and respond to confronting the unknown, right? And that may be in work or not, to make it work out in your favor. Right? Again, we learn to drive. This is something that majority of people do. This is the unknown. It's new. A lot of people, it's so intimidating for, but what do we do, right? What do we do about it? How do we make it work in our favor? So that's another area to explore. And then the third most important one is, are you holding onto your current job desperately simply because you feel or you fear that lack of stability? Is that the only reason that is making you stick? Because if it is, then life is way too short to be stuck in that, basically. And there are avenues out of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And to that point, something that really stuck with me that you said the other week was about people sort of saying, why are you so ungrateful? And it can be really hard where other people have this opinion about your job and you kind of feel like, I should love this job. And I had someone that said to me that, why are they so miserable when they have the perfect life? I mean, they had a house that's worth more than £1 million. They've got a wife, 2 beautiful kids, lovely cars on the drive, great job, good expense account, goes to the races, goes to the, smoozes the clients and stuff. And he's like, I'm not happy. And that can feel incredibly ungrateful. It's like, I've got all this stuff, but I'm not happy. And it's the same thing. It's like you're holding on to like stock options or something, and everyone's like, why would you walk away from 100 grand, 200 grand? It's like, because I don't want to have a miserable life for 20 years for that. And it's having that different different measure.
Yeah, 100%, because it's not, and also knowing, like, digging a little deeper, because that 100 grand or 200 grand, what is that going to give to you? What is that feeling? What is that money going to give to you in terms of feeling, in terms of, like, what is it going to make you feel when you have that money? Because at the end of the day, money is money. It's the feeling behind having that money that's important, right? And what are other avenues that you can have? Like, if money didn't exist, how else could you achieve that very same feeling? Because I'm 100% sure that there are other ways that would give you that feeling, as opposed to just money. Because for a lot of people, I mean, and let's talk about third world countries, for example, they seek some of the very same basic feelings and emotions that anyone else does in a first world country, but we just seek it in different things. So yeah, so that's also kind of an exploratory question, I guess. And I think that the second thing is, start talking to people, start finding people who you can ask questions to, speak to recruiters, speak to coaches, speak to whoever they are, people who have done what it is that you want to do. So have these conversations, stop bottling things up, because it's only killing you. It's not killing anyone else around you except for you. So I think that was another kind of big one, because when we have these fears and we sit bottled with all of these emotions, and we just kind of sit and cower behind it, and yeah, go speak to someone.
And also you're having a bigger impact than you thought, because yeah, when I sort of, the day that I came downstairs and I told Kate that I was quitting my job, she said good, and I was like, what? But she was like, she could see that I would come downstairs wound up because I didn't want to be doing what I was doing anymore, and I didn't know how to make the choice. And she said, you're just miserable. I would sit at the table hoping one of the kids would be naughty so I could have a blow up and let off some steam. And so I was like a coiled spring. So like, your partner might not be telling you, your kids might not be saying it, but they do notice. Like if you're living out of alignment of what you want to do or your values, it is bloody uncomfortable.
Absolutely. I mean, you know what, my son's 15 now, and they can tell when they're younger, but he will call me out if I'm having a moment. Like, he can see me like looking, my facial expressions say it all. He'll see me on a laptop or on the phone or texting or something, and I might snap at him and he'll be like, yo, what's up? Like, why are you taking it out on me? And then I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I just feel so bad because, but yeah, you're 100% right, and no one deserves that. So yeah. So I think in terms of kind of keeping this to the point, those are the key things. I think, I mean, like I said, nearly 95% of our clients are heavily talking about this topic. And we'd love to invite anyone who has these questions, because we've been through the journeys ourselves, so we know that kind of from starting point of feeling that niggle all the way through to taking that leap. But B, we've surpassed that now, so we've built beyond that, so we're able to answer questions, guide, provide a little bit of support in whatever way. And I think that's one of the areas, and that's why we cover career as one of the pillars in our program, because it is such a huge topic, and not everyone needs to go through that area. But it is like, are you enjoying your career? Are you enjoying your professional life? And if not, what are you doing about it, and what are you willing to do about it? Do you have any tips, Jeremy?
I think it's just that, again, it's like, talk to people, go to these networking events, see what other people that are a couple of steps ahead of you have done. How did they do it? Because my background is IT and pharma, and your background is kind of the marketing and sides like that. And if you talk to people, there are so many consulting roles out there that people need, and you have so much more knowledge than you realize. The whole thing that you're stood on a mountain of knowledge. The problem is you're stood on the mountain, so you can't see it below you. And like, just go talk to people and realize how much value you have. And again, I was at this networking event a couple of days ago, and I sort of said, oh, well, I don't really have a lot that I can input within the IT space. And this lady was like, no, I worked on one of the most innovative cancer treatment supply chain systems and manufacturing sites in the world. And when you're in it, you're just like, yeah, it's just like a site that like transported blood around the world and tracked it, and like individualized cell therapy. And they're like, yeah, but there's like 3 companies that do that, and there's hundreds of companies that want to do it. And then you suddenly realize, like, hang on a minute. Or maybe you've run like you sort of ran a corporate event for your company, and you're like, hang on a minute, loads of people have no idea how to do that, and they're scary as hell. And it's like, oh, there's a massive market. I met a lady on LinkedIn the other day, and she creates the infographics, like the little swipe, almost like the carousels. She makes LinkedIn carousels to make your content more engaging. That's her job, right? And she's successful. And and you suddenly realize that there is an incredible careers that you can have from niche things that provide huge value to other people, whether that's your work experience, whether it's a journey or transformation you've been on, like us, helping people because of burnout, because of weight loss, like all these sorts of things. It's explore, go look.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
That's my quick tip.
I think that's all we have on this topic without getting into the nitty-gritties and the tactics and the strategies. But it is definitely one we just wanted to cover, because we noticed that it's this underlying feeling that it's the elephant in the room for a lot of people that they're unwilling to address. So yeah, we're addressing it.
Yeah, and everyone thinks it's just them. Oh, it's just me feeling like this. No one else feels like this. Like, it's not. It is impacting so many people, and it's happened for decades. I mean, the whole idea that you join a company as a school leaver and you work till you get your gold watch pension doesn't exist anymore. People are. Someone said that they now think you have 2.5. The average person has 2.5 careers in their work life. So not 2.5 companies, 2.5 careers. So people are genuinely pivoting, whether that's from IT into operations, or whether it's from an employee into a business owner or something like that. So it's natural. Like, this the way the world is developing. So yeah, and this has to be short and sharp, because this is your journey. It's not something someone can tell you what the answer is. Like, Dina's questions have been amazing to sit down with a coffee and a pen and paper and think about them. But it's your journey, and then look to, we'd love to have a chat with you about how we could help to accelerate, support, ask the right question, or continue to ask the right questions. But it's your journey at the end of the day.
It is 100%, and no one can kind of answer that for you. So, if you do have any questions, please always reach out. You can find us on social media, or our website links are in the description somewhere. Yeah, we're everywhere, so you can find us anywhere, basically. But yeah, please do reach out. We're always happy to have a chat. There's never a hard sell in that sense. So what? Yeah, if you want to just have a chat, we're always welcome. Our doors are always open. So yeah, I think with that, wishing you all a wonderful week, and until the next episode.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you very much for listening. If you like the episode, please subscribe, share it with a friend or a colleague, and leave us a review on whichever podcast platform you're using. We read them all, and it really helps us get the insights and the guidance on where to take the program forward. And also connect with us on social media. Share your journey with us for your high performing and balanced life. And lastly, remember to take the BalanceQ scorecard. The link will be in the show notes. And BalanceQ, or BQ, is your balance quotient. It's your ability to live this high performing and balanced life, both in your personal and professional career. And when you take the scorecard, you get actionable insights, you get the steps that you can take to really take yourself on this journey. So with that, we thank you very much for listening, and look forward to you listening on a future episode, and have an amazing day.